Hello viewers, this is your hostess here, Nane Kriabwachwa A2A Talk Show. I'm so excited about today because we are still in the International Women's Day spirit. Today I have a co-host and her name is Christine. Christine is from Skilled Migrant Professional. She's here to co-host with me today. So we have three beautiful, successful business women here today. So we have Barbara Lester. Barbara is a professional speaker, life coach, and a filmmaker. She's very passionate about moving women forward. And Barbara was recognized as one of the 125 leading women in Queensland. Mana has worked as a secretary in different companies for many years in the UK and other parts of the world. She has worked as an editor of manufacturing facility. Mana currently works as a vision board coach, and he assists people to gain clarity around their vision and goals. And she's also helped establish people in home-based business globally. Liza Etru Ellis. Liza is a senior internal audit with over 12 years experience in the audit industry. She's the CEO of Botwe Ellis Migration Consultant, the proud sponsors of this program. Botwe Ellis Migration Consultancy, they provide migration services for all kinds. And Liza is also the board member of the Triumph Alliance. Welcome to the show, ladies. My name is Nane Kriya. I'm A2A Talk Show host, and today I have here with me my co-host, Christine. Christine is here to co-host with me today. But before we start, I would like everybody to introduce themselves. At this time, please, can you tell us where you come from originally? So we will know who you are. So more into detail, just tell us, who you are and what you do and where you come from. Starting from Barbara.
Okay. My name is Barbara Lester. I moved to Australia 9 years ago. I'm a CEO of an organization called Moving Women Forward. I'm also a professional speaker, life coach, and filmmaker. And what I do is I help women move forward from being stuck to a life of purpose and destiny.
I'm Myrna Wibben. I've been in Australia for just over 30 years. I am a certified vision board coach, so just help people to get clarity in different areas of their life. I'm also a business developer, helping people to establish themselves in a home-based business globally.
Okay, hi, I'm Liza Etru Ellis. I moved to Australia about 14 years ago, and I work as a professional auditor, and I'm also a CEO for Botwe Ellis Migration Services and a board member for the Triumph Alliance.
Christine, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Christine Mudanu Makombe. I run a couple of organizations that really deal with providing solutions for skilled migrants. So I run an organization called Skilled Migrant Professionals of Australia, and with that organization it's really about providing a platform for skilled migrants to meet, share content, interact and do business, and get to that next level of creating that vibrant community. I also run a health and human services consulting business, and that's really about raising the cultural awareness and cultural sensitivity around government funded programs or around the way departments view diversity, with a particular focus on the African community. I'm also Vice President of the African Professionals of Australia Association.
So ladies, first question, unlike Africa, Australia, there's a lot of opportunities here. You come here, you have the opportunity to go to the university and then to get any job that you want. But you ladies decided to set up your own business. Why is that? Can you tell us why you decided to become business women? Migrant business women. Starting from Liza this time.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I guess I have a passion of helping people. That's when I see people move from one level to another and they're happy about it, it gives me joy. So there are instances, or when I first moved in, it was just me migrating to Australia, and you can attest, life here alone is quite lonely. And 14 years ago, there weren't that many African people, and so I decided, okay, whoever wanted to migrate to Australia from my family, you're welcome to do that. So I had few people migrated. And in the process, a lot of people came to me and said, oh, how did you do it? You know, I want to bring this person in and so forth. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to go against the law, because the migration law says that if you want to really support someone or help someone in migration law or give advice, you need to be fully qualified and registered. So then I decided to go and do that. And it's quite costly exercise, you know, to go back to university to study again and register and all that. So I decided to make it a business and then reach out to a bigger community. And hence, Butrela's migration.
Yeah. Mana.
Well, I was actually made redundant a fourth time. And when that happened, I just made the decision that I would never, ever go back and work for a corporation and put my feet under that desk of a corporation ever again. I really just wanted control over my own life and have freedom over my own life.
Barbara.
Well, for me, I think Moving Women Forward found me. I am a victim, past survivor of domestic violence, and when I was in a refuge for domestic violence, they had pamphlets and flyers for us to read about how to, you know, move forward from that situation, etc. And I was, you know, suicidal, and I really couldn't read the pamphlets or the manuals. And so in that moment, I thought, you know what, if there was a TV project or something that I could watch, I could probably do that rather than read. And so that's where Moving Women Forward was birthed, you know, is through personal experience that I went through, and also a passion to help another woman in a similar situation as myself. Yeah.
Okay, ladies, before Christine, before you come in, I read all your biographies when you sent it to me, and to me, you are all successful women. So I would like you to define, in your perspective, what success is. Mana.
That's a really interesting question. For me, success is where you're able to impact another life. You're able to help someone with their mindset, and maybe to get them to respond and do things in a different way, maybe not realizing that they were capable of doing it, or maybe even not realizing the kind of mindset and the thinking that they had, that might have been holding them back.
Barbara.
Success for me is when you do something in someone's life or in the community or this world to make it a better place. You've left it much better than when it was before you got there. That's what success is to me.
Okay. Well, to me, it's more about you setting goals, whether personal goals or business goals or whatever goals you have, and then achieving them, making it come to life.
So all of you are really successful women. You're at the top of your game. The intent behind this program, as you're aware, we're celebrating women across Queensland this week. We've just had Queensland Women's Day, and for the first time in Queensland we're having a whole week of events, and this event is one such where we're celebrating the successes of women and how far women have come and the challenges they've had to overcome. The intention is to inspire younger migrant women. So can you talk about, you know, some of the challenges that you faced as business women and how you have overcome those challenges and used them as really like stepping stones to get to where it is that you are today? If I start with you, Barbara.
Yeah, I think for me the challenge was I had this dream, I had this vision of, you know, film and television projects to help women in domestic violence situations, but I didn't know what to do with it. And so I think the challenge was having people around me that could help me realize my dream. And how I managed to overcome that obstacle was I began to put myself out there. I truly believe in reciprocation, you know, where you give and you get back, you reap what you sow. And so as I became an ambassador for the Queensland University of Technology Learning Potential Fund, doors started to open for me. I began to meet people as I would share my vision, and they would say, oh, we can help you, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. So I would say that's how I overcame that obstacle.
Mona.
I think there are always going to be challenges with whatever one actually does. It's more the stories that are actually attached to the challenges. And I've lived in a number of different countries, and every country sort of presented different challenges. In Australia, I think the main challenge is really, for me, the main challenge was really finding a way in which to feel absolutely connected in a way, which is why I actually call my company Connected Communities, because that's really my goal and my dream, is to bring the communities together, and that was really the greatest challenge. And how do you overcome that? You just step out and move into the different communities.
Okay, for me, stepping out from, trying to establish your own business, whilst I knew that I had to re-study, it was a challenge because you have to work full-time and at the same time try to establish your own business. It's not that easy.
And juggle the family.
And juggle the family and everything around
and everything else in life.
Exactly. So the challenge was, get back to university again and study part-time and then make it happen. And yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
We talk about challenges now. Is there any support system in Australia here to make it easy for women like you to start up a business? Like, is there any support system like Australia? Is there any support system to help you start up business easily? Like, apart from your family, supporting you, I'm talking about Australia.
I know there are quite a number of organizations and small business support systems and all that around, but I haven't really tapped into. I went off and did my own thing, and it's been going on, without really needing anything extra from the government or from anywhere else. So I haven't really looked to see what is out there. But I do know that there are other support systems out there.
And do you know what are they? Maybe some people will be listening and they want to.
I'm not sure. I haven't, like I said earlier, I haven't really researched it because I haven't found a need for it. But I know there are a lot of support systems for small business organizations. For that, I can guarantee, but I don't know what they are. So,
I think the way you're going to find out about most of the support systems is really just by attending different kinds of networking groups and forums, and then you really find the people that you really want to connect with, because there's a culture that is in every different networking group, and then because everybody is there for the same reason, they're looking for connections, they will actually direct you to the areas that are going to benefit you the most.
Absolutely. I agree with Mona. Most people will only go into business with someone that they know and they have some sort of relationship with. And I would say it's in the networking where you exchange business cards, and you'd be so surprised about what somebody else is doing and how you can apply that to your business. So I would say, definitely networking.
And I think if I can just give a piece of advice when you're actually out there networking, is always to be aware of the fact of not wanting to go there just to receive, but to go there with the special intention of what is the value that I can bring to the people that are in the room, or a certain group of people in the room.
You may or may not be aware that the Queensland Women's Strategy is out this week. I think this is a really exciting time for us here in Queensland. For the first time, there is a feminist government that's really looking at the issues around gender inequality and how that has created, in some circles, a culture of violence towards women, a culture of not equal opportunity. There's a lot of discussions around the gender pay gap. So, and you still find at that CEO level, it's still dominated, it's still a very male-dominated industry. So I guess as women that are in business, in what is predominantly a male sphere, would like to hear your learnings, your experiences of how that gender inequality gap is playing out and how you as successful women have managed to find your place in that, and what advice you can give future generations about how we can bridge that gender inequality gap. So I might start with you, Myrna, this time.
The first thing I think is really, there are a lot of men that actually still need us as women to encourage them, believe it or not. And in the area that I'm in, that isn't a challenge. So it's a bit challenging for me to actually answer that, because there isn't the gender inequality there at all. Because when you make the decision to join the area that I'm in, they don't ask you for your diploma, they don't ask you about your race. You just have to come there willing to work, willing to learn, and to have a big vision. That's it. So it's not something that I can really comment with where I'm at this particular moment. And then I think when I look back on my life in terms of when I was employed, yes, there were certainly a lot of challenges, but how I might handle it now will probably be very different to the way I handled it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Liza.
Right. Me, in doing that, if you look at it from more professional perspective, for our colleagues that work out there for other people, it's more like putting your hand up. Really, if there are opportunities there, put your hand up and do everything in your power to really close the gap, to make you stand out, to really become who you want to become. If you're a woman, you want to achieve a success or to a higher grounds in your workplace. But from business side, private business side, I'm a woman. I'm the CEO of our business, and a lot of women would come to me and say, "Oh, I want to be like you," and all that. I show them the ropes and tell them if it's a matter of retrain, you have to retrain, because I had to retrain to do what I do now. So, yeah.
And the pay gap, I think there's been a lot of discussions around the fact that women don't get paid dollar for dollar what men get paid. So that's really, I guess, what I'm interested in sort of teasing out from you amazing women here, is that you're all CEOs of your respective organizations. But for some women, the reality is that I'm a CEO, man's a CEO, but there's gender inequality in terms of how we're getting paid. And I guess the advice to younger women as to how you can sort of overcome that, and as you say, really, stand up, be recognized, make it your own. I don't know if there's any advice that you can give girls rising up in that space.
I would say, first of all, take responsibility for where you are. You found yourself in that situation, you should be getting a certain amount of pay. So you take responsibility and don't wait for somebody else to make the move and to stand up, like you said. And if you find that you don't have that ability to stand up, then you need to start looking at why you have a low self-esteem and low self-concept when you know this is what you are worth. Why do you think you have such a low value and have low self-worth? That's what I would say. Yeah.
I think sometimes some of these things happen beyond your control. Okay, so you can be employed as a audit manager as a female, and another person, a male, going audit manager. You would not be at the background knowing what that male is getting paid. So it's really beyond your control. It's about during your interview process, what you put forward and what you think you are worth. You got to really negotiate with your panel, your interview panels, to really, put forward what you want and to make it happen. Because, you can't. It's not in front of you to say males are for this job. Yes, sometimes you might have a standard to say for this particular job, this is the bracket. So you have to really work it out to get the bracket you want. That's beyond you. But where you can control it, like Barbara said, you got to take that responsibility and accountability and then stand up and push forward
And I think your key point that you said about negotiation, I think as women, I don't think we often think that in interview it's not so much the company is, you're there, they're buying you, you're buying them as well. And I think that's important.
Yeah, it's a give and take affair.
Yeah.
You interview them, they are interviewing you. So you got to really strike a balance and see.
And I think that's an important message for young women who are watching this, that, it is a give and take, and have the confidence, as you were saying, Barbara, to stand up for yourself.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with both you ladies in that it does come down to negotiation, and it does come down to understanding what your value is, and then negotiating that value.
Okay, ladies, from reading your bio, I can say that all of you are successful business women. What are your greatest achievements and your accomplishment? I want the greatest one, achievement and accomplishment. So, from Barbara.
Yeah. I'd like to say that everything I've achieved is not only because of myself, but the women that have come alongside me and helped me to move forward. So I managed to be nominated for Australian of the Year in 2015. I was recognized as one of 125 leading women in Queensland. I have been an ambassador for the Queensland University of Technology Learning Potential Fund, and I have just been asked to be part of a committee board of alumnus for the fund as well recently. And I'm also an author of a book, Heaven's Embrace. And
where can we get that one to buy?
It's available online, Kindle, or just typing Barbara Lester Heaven's Embrace, and the Barnes and Noble, Amazon. It's available anywhere in the world. You'll be able to download the book.
Yeah, my greatest success has really been able to have the experience of living in different countries with different cultures, and finding a way in which I could create a life for myself as a single woman, because I've never been married, and all of these places I've lived in on my own. My other achievements has really been that I've been a pioneer in most of the jobs that I had before becoming a business developer and having my own business. And every area was an area that I pioneered and opened up for other people to be able to follow. So for example, in Africa, I was the very first person of my kind to actually be a receptionist at a legal company. In the UK, I worked as an advertising and PR manager for a fashion company, which was an upper middle class English fashion company. So, who they were expecting to see in that role was definitely what they
was not you.
Was not what they expected to see, and there were always some very interesting experiences because my secretary looked very different to me, and very often they would go to her thinking that she was the person, the advertising and PR manager, and she would actually usher me through and then usher them through and say, "This is actually my boss." So that was.
So you've broken down a lot of barriers.
I've broken down an enormous amount of barriers, a lot of barriers. In fact, I think I probably delight in not being able to put me into a pigeonhole. That's probably the thing that I delight in the most, where people can't say, because you're African, because you're this, you're supposed to behave in a certain kind of way. I've just broken down all of those barriers. For example, when I was working in the UK, my role was advertising and PR manager, yet I had not been to an advertising and PR school. Okay? And yet I was in that role. I had had no experience in fashion. I had had no experience with the media. And yet when I left with the media absolutely loving me. And the reason why they did was just because they could trust me and they liked me. And I think for the young people that are out there, it's probably a message that I would like to give out there in saying, yes, you can have all the degrees. Yes, you can have all the formal education. But if you don't have the skills of communication, if you don't know how to nurture people, if you don't know how to be able to trust, you're not going to have the success you're going to have.
Know, like, and trust.
You've got to know, like and trust. Yeah. So my greatest success has really just been breaking down the barriers. Yeah.
Right. For me, from my migration perspective, is to really help people resettle in Australia. Be it skilled migrant or refugees or anyone wanting to come and join their families, and getting them to come in and you see the faces of those people and how happy they are. I would find that to be a great achievement for me. And from personal perspective as well, I've been able to, I've been appointed to become a board member for the Triumph Alliance organization. It is an organization that is really based in Australia, and it is helping young disadvantaged or the youth disadvantaged ones in Africa to really find sustainable employment, and not only Africa, other developing countries as well.
So you women have done amazing things here, and you've all come from a different part of the world. I guess what I'm interested in exploring is that, there's different cultures, there's different norms. What has been your experiences, I guess, with doing business on the African continent, which is where all of you are from, and doing business here? And obviously you've chosen to stay here and make a life and really build a business. So what has been your learnings from having transacted, I guess, onto two different continents and having an experience that I guess maybe your average Australian business owner wouldn't have? So maybe I'll start with you, Barbara.
Yeah. Oh, I thank Africa. Africa built resilience in me.
Yes.
There's so many things that don't come as easy. Like the resources, the finances, and as a woman as well, you have to raise your family and you've got to be working, and so to start a business is not easy. And I think having come to Australia from an environment like that, it really set me up for success, just the difficulties that I went through in Africa. And so I would say, for all the women that are in Africa and I think, of coming to Australia or going into another country, you can do this. If you can run a business in Africa, you'll be able to run one here. Yeah.
I guess that I was very privileged in that I had a dad that was an entrepreneur, and so I learned an awful lot from him, and the words that he actually spoke over me remained with me. And so one of the things that my father always used to say to me is that you're the head and you're not the tail. And as I've been building my business in Australia and just creating a life for myself in Australia and in the other countries, it was just always remembering that, that I was the head and I was not the tail. Not in an arrogant kind of way, but just, that there's the resilience there and the strength is actually there. And I totally agree with Barbara that, Africa is the soil for building that resilience and that strength.
We have strong foundation.
Yeah.
Very strong foundation. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
If you can survive in Africa, you can survive anywhere else.
Yes.
And I always say that people here that always complain don't know how good they've got it. Until you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But for me, I worked in Africa for a while. I didn't run my own business then. I worked in the mining sector, and here I work in again another organization, and then we have our own business as well. But I guess the differences between the two environments would be that things are easier to acquire, or in terms of logistics manner, it's easier to really run around and do so many things at the same time here. Whereas back home in Africa, where I come from, Ghana, it's really hard to get one thing done in a day, pretty much.
You are all successful business women, migrant business women, and there are viewers listening to you. Some people may want to be like you. So what are the top three skills necessary to become a successful business woman or woman?
I would say allow yourself to dream. Have this vision of yourself beyond your present circumstances. Don't look at where you are, engage that as where your future for tomorrow is going to be. No. Number two, get a vision board and put what you're thinking in your head and in your heart on a vision board. And then after that, try and get a mentor or a life coach, somebody around you that can support you and hold your hand and encourage you and say, you can do this. Yes, you can.
I think adding to what Barbara's actually just said there, the three top things would be, number one is always be willing to step out of your comfort zone, because that's where the success is. It's not sitting at home on a couch watching television, it's stepping out there. The second thing is to be willing to be a fool, make mistakes, and just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go again. And the more mistakes you're making, that means that you're taking more and more action. And then the last thing is discipline, because we can have the dreams and we can have the goals, but we do need to have the discipline to carry them out.
And do you find Africa has taught you that discipline? When
I think the discipline came from being at a Catholic convent school. The nuns drummed that in me. Very hard to get away from that.
That is true, yeah, those nuns will instill that in you.
Well, for me, it's more about taking risk. If you don't take risk, you won't get to where you want to be. If you want to be in your comfort zone, like my dear sister said, you will be stuck and then always wishing that you did that.
Yeah.
So first, take a risk, and second is be determined. Yes, one thing is to dream and say, I want to do this and do whatever, but if you are not determined and pressing towards those goals, they will not happen. And then third one would be, if you have to retrain and get your dream happens.
Barbara, let me quote Barbara before you come in. Barbara, I was reading your biography and I read something. Barbara is passionate about empowering women and assisting them to move forward from being stuck. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. From my experience with working with women over the years, is women always have a dream or a vision, but how to put it into practice and how to get there can sometimes be difficult and a mystery for them. And so what I do is that I try and come alongside women and as their motivational friend and life coach and say, yes, you can do this. And then as well as helping open doors for them. I kind of like call myself a fixer-upper, whereby I can see this Christine, she's got the resources that Myrna needs, and then bringing them together. Because it's my philosophy now is no longer, like how it used to be in the past, where you're a queen and you've got all these followers following, but it's a queen with other queens and we're all moving forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I would say that's how we're going to help women move forward from being stuck. And one of the things that we've been talking about, gender equality and everything like that, I would also like to encourage women to help each other to move forward and get unstuck. If you see your sister there, that you have the contract, you have the opportunity to open a door for her, open the door for her. Don't get caught up in jealousy and competition. You've got unique gifts and talents of your own, and she has her own unique gifts and talents of her own. And so you shine bright as you are, and let her shine bright as you are, and help her move forward.
So I guess one of the things that we really wanted to, bring this panel of women together was to give some advice to a lot of younger women who are looking up to, okay, I'm a skilled migrant, I'm abroad, I've come from Africa, or I've come from a different part of the world, Asia, wherever, and I'm really looking to set up my businesses. You've learnt a lot and you've got a lot of experiences. Just doing a bit of reflective thinking, looking back at your younger self, when you were in your 20s, what have you learnt now? What can you say to your younger self about, some of the, life's experiences that you've had? If you were looking at your 20-year-old photo, what would you be saying to yourself, given where you are at now? So I might start with you, Liza.
Okay, thank you, Christine. I would say take opportunity, whether small or big, any opportunity that knocks your door. When you see it, you take it. And if you think that you can't do it, just take it first before you ask questions, so you find a way to do it.
Figure it out as you go along.
Yes, yes. It will play out in the end.
Yeah. Bill Gates once said it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. I think it's in that, it's in that vein.
Exactly. And Richard Branson also says that, take the opportunity that knocks your door, and then ask questions later.
Ask questions later. Exactly. Myrna, what would you say to your 20-year-old self?
I've got to go way back, Christine. I think what I would say to that 20-year-old is just always, even though you have your goals, even though you have the big dreams, even though you have the big vision, is never ever ever lose sight of nurturing and taking care of that inner child.
How can you do that though when, how have you managed to do that, take care of your inner child?
I've done some really silly things over the last few weeks. I've gone into a playground and I have gone down one of those slides.
Yes, I saw that on your Facebook. Yes.
Yeah. I'm planning on going to another park and doing a swing. I bought myself a funny hat. These days I just don't care whether I look foolish. I have bought myself some really bright things. Before I was hiding away in a lot of black. Now I'm getting back with big bold jewelry and getting out there with more bright colours again. I've taken myself up to Mount Kusa and had myself an ice cream. I just bought myself an ice cream and pretended I was a 5-year-old, eating that ice cream and having my favourite rum and raisin, or my, And also, just with the clothes that you wear too, rather than being, conservative when you're out there doing business, just dressing in a way that's fun. Because when you're feeling that fun and you're feeling good, you're going to be attracting people a lot more when you're just being your authentic fun self rather than strapped up in a suit.
But it depends though, man. It depends on what you're putting out there, what you're trying to.
I'm definitely not going to be wearing something down here and up here, darling. I will have the wisdom to do that. Okay? I will have
It's good. It's good. She's not stuck.
Okay, what would I tell my 20-year-old self? What I would, because I was in Africa at that stage, and I grew up in an environment whereby having a husband was your savior out of your situation of poverty or whatever situation. Everybody was talking about, if I could only get a husband. And even when you're with your parents and relatives, you don't really have a voice if you don't have a husband, And so what I tell myself is, Barbara, it's have more faith in yourself. You don't have to be married and have someone there to become the better you and fulfill your purpose and your destiny. Wait a little bit. Don't focus too much on relationships. Invest more in education and in yourself. That's what I'll tell my 20-year-old self.
So giving back to the Australian community, I know, you're doing a lot. You said a lot, during the conversation, but I would just like you to tell us exactly what you are doing for the Australian community. Starting from you.
From me, okay. Well,
because you have successful business, so you are getting some profit from your business.
Okay.
I think everybody is getting some profit, so you have to give back to the community.
Okay.
So what are you doing for the Australian community?
Okay. So far we're not contributing financially, to the community to say that we dropping this much money here and there to help the Australian government to do this, but we are contributing intrinsically, providing that intrinsic value, whereby people will migrate here, be it skilled, and then they would find employment to support Australian community. That's economical.
Yeah, it's
economic,
exactly.
So it's coming from that, and then also from family perspective, as you can attest. When you are alone here, it's or when you are by yourself here, it's quite lonely. So helping people bring their family members to be with them, and you see the light and glow in them, we feel like they'll be better people to really achieve their dreams, or they feel that sense of belonging in Australia and they move forward. So that's how we've contributed in our little way.
Every little bit.
The way I feel I've contributed is just by being my authentic self every day, making sure that when I'm out and about just doing my business, that I'm actually interacting with the Australian community, making sure that I'm giving someone a smile, making sure that I'm giving someone a compliment, you know, just making sure that I find a way in which I can connect on some level, and then also finding a way of how I can actually bring value to that person. And that value can be different things on different days. You know, for some days it might just be someone that just needs you to listen to them. You know, they just need an ear. Or it might be, you know, I've sometimes gone to my neighbours and drop bread off there, you know, to the young kids or the students, and they're like, you can just see the shock look on their face. What on earth are you doing that for? And it's not that they couldn't afford it, but it's just the gesture that they actually enjoy. And then also just by being our authentic self and just having that friendliness, I feel that's a seed that I actually am planting to the Australian community.
Barbara.
For myself, I would say how we're giving back to the community is that I partnered with my church in Mackay area, and we started a program that runs out of the Women's Centre called Women of Resilience. And so it's run every school term. And so what happens is we go in there and we have up to 20 women coming in every Thursday. And we've got women that have come from domestic violence backgrounds, rape, or they've had their kids taken away from them through child protection. And what we do is we run workshops to help them build resilience in them, how to set goals, how to set boundaries, and everything that a woman needs in the kitty bag to move forward. And apart from that, being an ambassador for the Learning Potential Fund, you know, raising money for students that cannot afford to go to university, as well as, you know, just doing life coaching in my community with women that have given up, that are suicidal, and not charging a fee, and saying, okay, I'll give you 8 sessions for free. And so you see a mother restored in her home, and she's able to be a good wife as well to her husband, whereas before she had given up, and now she's got hope and she's going after her dreams.
Is one of the things I'd like to find out from you is there any programs, I guess, that you're involved in that give directly back to your former home countries? Because Australia is now your new home countries, but you're in that position where you're able to contribute to where you're at right now, but also where you've come from. Is there anything that you're sort of actively involved in that you can let our viewers know about, and also raise awareness about things that other people may want to also be involved in that are near and dear to you? So
Okay. Right. As I said earlier on, I am a board member for the Triumph Alliance. That organization sort of helped the young disadvantaged youth back in Africa. So not only from Ghana, but from other part of Africa and also other developing countries to really find a sustainable employment. So what the organization is doing is to get them the right tools, be it physical tool for a trade or education, certificate 3 in something or whatever it is, you know, to really empower them to become something better for themselves and for their families. So that program is really going. It's a non-for-profit organization. It just started up, and
how do people get involved in that if they're interested in?
Yes, there is a website that's set, and at this stage we're going through that phase of getting
An ABN?
Yeah, no. ABN.
Oh, sorry, it's a non-for-profit.
It's yes.
Yeah.
It's even going.
Yeah.
It's been registered with ASIC, and
Yeah.
it's all good to
Oh,
go.
yes.
So the executives are doing a great job and making it happen. But at this stage, they've also gone through tax office to get that. I'm looking for the short term, but I can't find it. It's more deductible funds whereby you
Yeah.
contribute as part of your whatever. If you want
Your
to
tax
take
exemption.
exactly, you want to take Triumph Alliance as your charity,
Yeah.
you can then pay some money and you can get some
gratuitous
tax-
payment.
exactly exemption. So if you look for the Triumph Alliance,
Yep.
you will find it, and all that you need to do in terms of contributing will be on the website.
Brilliant. Excellent. Yeah.
I actually don't do anything in that area,
Mm-hmm.
giving back. I'm an ambassador for the Sekiru African Education Fund, which is at the Griffiths University, and we hand out grants to the African students, but I'm not actually giving back directly.
But you are.
I guess I am. I guess I am doing that. Thank you, ladies.
Yes.
I am.
You are.
Yes,
You're doing
you
a lot.
are.
I'm a board member for I Am Bible Distribution, and that's managed by my twin sister Hazel Mears. And what we do is we go into schools in Zimbabwe and distribute free Bibles. Actually, this year my twin daughters accompanied her, and they went into the schools and they ran some concerts and they distributed Bibles as well as feeding the homeless. And so, yeah, if you want to support that, it's I Am Bible Distribution, and it's available online.
Yeah. Thank you, lady, for coming to the show, for coming to my studio. I think we'll run it up in it.
So, firstly, on behalf of Skilled Migrant Professionals and on behalf of A2A Talk Show, we'd like to thank the three of you for coming along to our panel discussion today in celebration of Queensland Women's Week. So we are in the spirit of partnership and collaboration. I believe together we can be a force to be reckoned with. I think the age of competition is so last century. We're in the age of collaboration and working together. And I think, Barbara, you summed it up nicely when you said, you each bring your own unique set of skills. So, I'm really excited that we were able to do this in partnership with A2A Talk Show, and hopefully we can do more things together, collaboratively working as women. Barbara, we'd like to thank you exceptionally because you travelled all the way from Mackay. So thank you so much for coming and being part of our panel today. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your ideas, and your experiences to help shed a light on what successful migrant women in Australia look like, and to inspire, educate and empower younger migrants and give them that beacon of light that they're all looking for. So thank you so much, ladies, for your time. Nana, thank you very much for being an exceptional host, and thanks A2A for doing this in partnership with Skilled Migrant Professionals of Australia.
Thank you very much for having the time to sit around and watch the show. But before we go, I would like to take this opportunity and acknowledge our sponsors. Adonai Virgin Hair, they sell affordable and quality virgin hair. Invest in their hair and you will not regret making that decision. They have free postage everywhere internationally, and their postage is very fast. Your item is right at the door. Tuntifadi Designs, I would say they are the best multicultural designs in Australia. If you want any design for any occasion, parties, engagement, wedding, naming ceremony, just contact these people and they will design the best outfit for you. Botwe Ellis Migration Consultant, they will act on your behalf with immigration, so you get the legal document to travel to Australia. If you want to come to Australia, if you want any member of your family to travel to Australia, contact Botwe Ellis Migration Consultant. Their website is www.botweellis.com. Please don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we will see you again next time. My name is Nanekwia. Bye.